You wake up tired. Again. Different day. Same weight sitting on your chest. It starts before you even open your eyes. The list. The what-ifs. The replay of conversations you cannot change. The rehearsal of disasters that have not even happened yet. You tell yourself it is preparation. You tell yourself that worry means you care. But here is the truth nobody says out loud. Worry is the illusion that control is still possible. You think if you think hard enough, plan enough, anticipate enough, you can hold the world steady in your hands. You cannot. The Stoics knew this 2,000 years ago. Marcus Aurelius sat on a throne and still could not control the outcome of his wars, his family, his own empire. Epictetus was a slave who owned nothing but his own mind. Seneca faced exile, betrayal, and finally death. And yet, all three of them were free. Not because they avoided hardship. Not because they were emotionless men reciting clever lines. They were free because they stopped clinging. They learned to silence the noise. They surrendered the outcome. And they anchored themselves in the only thing they ever truly controlled. Their response. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly how they did it, and exactly how you can do the same thing, starting today.
Welcome to True Stoic Journal, the path to inner control.
Here is the first truth, and it is the foundation everything else stands on. You only control your response. Never the outcome. Epictetus called this the dichotomy of control. There are things within your power, your thoughts, your actions, your intentions. And there are things entirely outside your power, other people's opinions, the weather, whether your effort gets rewarded, whether your message gets a reply. Most people spend their entire lives trying to control the second category. And they suffer endlessly because of it. You send a message and obsess over the reply. You work late and stress over whether anyone noticed. You give your best and worry it will not be enough. You plan everything perfectly and panic the moment one small detail shifts. And here is the trap. You think the anxiety is useful. You think it is helping you. It is not. Worrying about the outcome does not change the outcome. It only drains you, slowly, quietly, day after day. Imagine you are holding a rope. On the other end is everything you cannot control, the future, other people, fate itself. You are pulling with everything you have, trying to drag it toward you, trying to force it to obey. The rope does not move. It never does. Now imagine you let go. Not because you stopped caring. But because you finally realized the rope was never yours to pull in the first place. That is Stoicism. You stop wasting energy on what you cannot control, and you pour everything into what you can. Showing up with integrity. Responding with clarity. Acting with intention, even when the ground feels unstable beneath you. Marcus Aurelius faced war, plague, betrayal, and loss. He could not stop any of it. But he could choose how he stood in the middle of it. He could choose courage over panic. Presence over paralysis. And so can you. The outcome will be what it is, whether you worry or not, whether you lose sleep over it or not. But your response, that is yours completely. Stop pulling the rope. That is the first truth, and it changes everything that follows. Here is the second truth, and it is uncomfortable. Most of your suffering exists only in your mind. Seneca wrote that we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Think about that for a moment. How many times have you been destroyed by something that never actually happened? How many nights have you lost sleep rehearsing arguments that never occurred? You have probably suffered the same hardship a dozen times. Once in reality. 11 times in your imagination alone. Here is an example. You get a message from your boss. Can we talk tomorrow? Immediately, your mind spirals. You are getting fired. You messed something up. They are disappointed in you. You replay every mistake you have made in the last month. You imagine cleaning out your desk. You imagine telling your family the bad news. None of it has happened yet. Tomorrow arrives. Your boss wants to congratulate you on a project. But you already suffered. You spent hours in hell for absolutely nothing at all. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." Not because the future does not matter, but because you are not in the future. You are here. Now. And right now, in this exact moment, are you actually okay? Is there an actual emergency happening? Probably not. Most of the chaos lives entirely in your mind, manufactured, rehearsed, and repeated until it feels real. Here is the third truth, and it is the one people resist the most. Acceptance is not defeat. Acceptance is freedom. You think fighting reality makes you strong. You think refusing to accept what is happening means you are resilient. The Stoics knew better. Acceptance does not mean you approve. It does not mean you like what happened. It means you stop resisting what already is, and start working with what remains. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you should accept whatever comes to you, woven into the pattern of your life. Not because everything happens for a reason, but because it has already happened, and resisting it only adds suffering on top of pain. Imagine you are standing in a river. The current is strong. You can fight it, exhaust yourself completely, and still get swept downstream anyway. Or you can stop fighting, find your footing, and move with intention instead of panic. That is acceptance. You lose your job. You can rage against the injustice for months, replaying what you could have done differently. Or you can accept that it happened, grieve it fully, and ask, what now? One path keeps you stuck for years. The other sets you free far sooner than you expect. Stop fighting the river. Learn to move with it instead. Here is the fourth truth. Your attention is your most valuable resource. You are worried because you are giving your attention to the wrong things entirely. You are focused on what might happen instead of what is actually happening right now. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you always own the option of having no opinion. There is never any real need to trouble your soul over things you cannot control. Imagine your attention is a spotlight. Right now, it is scattered across 1,000 different stages. Past mistakes. Future fears. Other people's judgments. Worst-case scenarios that may never even arrive. What if you pulled that spotlight back? What if you aimed it only at what is real, at what you can actually do right now, in this hour? Everything would change. When you worry, you are essentially borrowing suffering from the future that may never even arrive. You are paying interest on a debt that does not exist. Epictetus said it is never what happens to you, but how you react to it, that matters most. And your reaction always begins with your attention. Where you place it determines your entire experience of the day. Bring it back to what is real. Bring it back to now. That is where your power actually lives. Here is the fifth truth, and it is strangely comforting. Everything is temporary. Including your worry. You feel stuck right now. Like this, anxiety will last forever. Like this, the weight will never fully lift. It will. Seneca wrote that life is long if you know how to use it properly. The Stoics practice something called memento mori, a meditation on mortality, not to be morbid, but to remember that nothing lasts. No pain. Not hardship. Not worry. Think back to something you were deeply worried about a year ago. Can you even remember it clearly right now? Probably not. That thing that felt like life or death a year ago has already passed. It did not destroy you. You are still here, reading these words. Marcus Aurelius, watching his empire face collapse, wrote that time is a river of passing events. Everything flows. Nothing stays in one place for long. When anxiety grips you, pause. Ask yourself honestly, will this matter in 5 years? In 5 months? In 5 days from now? Sometimes the answer is yes. Then you act decisively with what is actually within your control. But most of the time, the answer is no. And in that no, there is real and lasting freedom. Here is the sixth and final truth. The summit of everything we have covered so far. Peace comes from within. Never from circumstances. You have been chasing peace in the wrong place your entire life. You believe that once you get the promotion, the relationship, the certainty you have been craving, then finally you will stop worrying. The Stoics knew better than this. Epictetus said there is only one path to happiness, and it is to stop worrying about things beyond the power of your will. Peace is not waiting for you at the end of some checklist you have not finished yet. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire. He had wealth, power, and influence beyond most people's imagination. And yet he wrote that very little is actually needed for a happy life, because it is all within yourself, in your own way of thinking about the world. He did not find peace sitting on his throne. He found it inside his own disciplined mind. You have been waiting for life to calm down so that you can finally feel calm yourself. But life will never fully calm down. It never has, for anyone, in the entire history of the world. There will always be uncertainty. There will always be reasons to worry if you go looking for them. But you do not have to give in to them every single time. Because peace does not come from perfect circumstances. It comes from how you meet imperfect ones, again and again. Seneca wrote that true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence on the future. Not because the future does not matter. But because right now is genuinely all you have. So here we are. 6 truths, laid out plainly. You only control your response, never the outcome. Most of your suffering exists only in your mind. Acceptance is not defeat, it is freedom. Your attention is your most valuable resource. Everything is temporary, including your worry. And peace comes from within, not from circumstances. These are not just ideas to admire. They are daily practices. They are choices you make, again and again, until they become who you are. The Stoics were not philosophers hiding in ivory towers, detached from real life. They were people facing real hardship, war, exile, betrayal, death. And they chose clarity anyway, every single day. You have that same choice sitting quietly in front of you right now. Every time worry grips you, you can ask, is this within my control? Every time your mind spirals, you can ask, is this real, or am I only suffering in imagination? Every time life does not go your way, you can ask, can I accept this and still move forward anyway? You are not broken. You are not weak. You are human. And being human means you will worry sometimes. You will overthink. You will feel the weight settle back on your chest. But you do not have to stay there. You can come back to the present. You can release the rope. You can stop resisting reality and start working with it instead. If this reached something inside you today, share it with someone who is quietly carrying too much right now. Like this video, because this kind of clarity deserves to travel further than it will without your help. And subscribe to True Stoic Journal, because what comes next goes even deeper into building a mind that stays calm no matter what life brings your way, and it will be waiting in your feed very soon. Remember this, life does not work out because you worry less. It works out because you finally get clearer. Release the rope. Trust that you are exactly where you need to be. Right here. Right now.